Imagine being told at 13 years old that your body is betraying you. That the very legs you dream of using to conquer the world are not growing the way they should. That the cure exists, but your family cannot afford it. That is where the story of the greatest footballer who ever lived actually begins, not on a trophy podium, not under golden confetti, but in a hospital waiting room in Rosario, Argentina, with a frightened boy and a desperate family staring down an uncertain future. His name is Lionel Messi. And in 2026, at 38 years old, he will captain the defending World Cup champions at what is almost certainly his final World Cup, hunting a back-to-back title that only two nations in all of football history have ever achieved. This is his complete story. And the stakes have never been higher. Rosario, 1987. Jorge and Celia Messi's third child is born into a working-class family in one of Argentina's most football-obsessed cities, the same city that produced another legend, Che Guevara. From the moment young Leo could walk, he was inseparable from a ball. Neighbors, coaches, anyone who watched him said the same thing: this child doesn't play football the way others do. He thinks in a language the game hadn't invented yet. But at 10, doctors diagnosed Messi with a growth hormone deficiency. The treatment cost $900 a month, a sum his family simply did not have. Newell's Old Boys, his local club, couldn't fund it. River Plate passed. It was FC Barcelona, watching a 12-year-old on a small pitch in South America, who said yes. Legend says director Carles Rixach wrote the offer on a paper napkin. A napkin that changed football forever. Messi arrived at La Masia, Barcelona's famous academy, at 13. He was small, quiet, and spoke almost no Catalan. He was also immediately and obviously extraordinary. By 16 he was training with the first team. By 17, he made his La Liga debut under Frank Rijkaard. By the time Pep Guardiola took over in 2008, the stage was set for the most dominant era any club has ever produced, and Messi was the engine of all of it. What followed across 21 years at Barcelona was simply without precedent in the sport's history. 10 La Liga titles. 4 UEFA Champions League trophies. 7 Copa del Rey winners' medals. And individual numbers that statisticians are still struggling to contextualize. And then there is the Ballon d'Or, football's most prestigious individual award. Messi has won it 8 times. 8. No human being in the history of the sport has come close to that number. But no conversation about Messi is complete without the name that has shadowed his entire career, Cristiano Ronaldo. For nearly 2 decades, football has been split down the middle by one of sport's greatest rivalries. 2 men, Ronaldo born in 1985, Messi in 1987, arriving in La Liga within a few years of each other, both redefining what a footballer could be, but doing it in almost completely opposite ways. Messi, the fluid ghost who makes the impossible look accidental. Ronaldo, the sculpted machine who bends football to his will through sheer force of ambition. The goal records tell a story that should be impossible. As of 2026, Cristiano Ronaldo has scored over 900 career goals across clubs and international football combined. Messi passed 900 in 2025 and currently sits at over 910. Only 2 men in the history of the sport have ever broken 900. Both are still alive. One is still playing. The assist record is where Messi stands entirely alone. He is the all-time leader in career assists across all competitions, a record that speaks to something Ronaldo's game, for all its magnificence, was never built around, the selfless, visionary pass that makes someone else a hero. Messi has spent a career making teammates look like geniuses. But for all of Barcelona's glory, for all the individual awards, there was for years one gaping wound in Messi's legacy, Argentina. His international career had become a story of beautiful, agonizing failure. For Copa America finals lost. A 2014 World Cup final lost to Germany in extra time. The greatest player in the world, somehow, always falling at the last step with his country. Critics, some of them vicious, said he was a Barcelona player, not an Argentine one. That he saved his genius for club football and wilted under the weight of the sky blue and white shirt. Then came 2021. The Copa America, hosted across Brazil. Argentina had not won a major international title since 1993. 28 years of hurt. Messi, 34 years old and many thought past his peak, produced one of the great individual tournament performances in international football history. Argentina won. Messi wept on the pitch at the Maracana. A man who had everything, except this, finally had it. And then Qatar 2022. The World Cup final on December 18 is already being called the greatest football match ever played. Argentina versus France. Messi's team led 2-0 with 10 minutes remaining. Kylian Mbappé scored twice in rapid succession to make it 2-2. Extra time. More goals. 3-3 after 120 minutes. A penalty shootout. And Messi, 35 years old, the weight of a nation on his shoulders, a generation's worth of heartbreak in his eyes, stepped up, placed the ball, and buried it. Argentina won on penalties. Messi's tears this time were different. They were the tears of a man who had fought for 35 years for a single moment, and the moment had arrived. He lifted the World Cup. And for millions of people watching around the world, the argument was settled. The Copa America 2024 followed, Argentina's second consecutive continental title under Messi, cementing a dynasty. He then made the extraordinary decision not to retire internationally, but to continue, to come to the 2026 World Cup at 38 years old for one final act. No player at this level plays this long. But Messi has never followed the rules that apply to everyone else. Now to the question at the heart of 2026, can Argentina actually do it? Back-to-back World Cup titles is one of the rarest achievements in the sport's entire history. Only Italy in 1934 and 1938, and Brazil in 1958 and 1962, have ever managed it. Every team that has tried since, Brazil, Germany, France, Spain, has failed. The tournament is simply too random, the quality of competition too high, the margin for error too thin. Argentina's squad for 2026 is not a team built around one aging star and some supporting cast. Enzo Fernandez at Chelsea is one of the best midfielders in the world at 25. Julian Alvarez, still only 28, is a Champions League winner and a force of nature in attack. Lautaro Martinez is one of the most clinical strikers in Serie A history. This is a legitimate squad. A deep squad. A hungry squad. And they have the one thing every team in this tournament is chasing: they already know what winning feels like. But the questions about Messi himself are real and they deserve to be asked directly. He is 38 years old in a sport where the elite retire at 34 or 35. He plays at Inter Miami in MLS, a league with a fraction of the intensity of La Liga or the Premier League. The last time a player of this age was decisive at a World Cup was, arguably, never. His body has been carefully managed. His minutes monitored. But a World Cup does not care about careful management. It demands everything. And yet, everyone who said Messi was finished has eventually had to eat their words. At 34 they said Copa America was too far. At 35 they said the World Cup final was too much. He keeps rewriting the boundary of what is possible. The case for Messi defying age one more time is simply, he has already done it every time before. So here is where history stands as the 2026 World Cup kicks off across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Lionel Messi, 38 years old, 910 career goals and counting, 8 Ballon d'Or awards, every major honor the game has to offer, and one last chance to put Argentina in the company of Italy and Brazil as the only nations to ever win consecutive World Cups. The boy from Rosario who needed a napkin and a dream has come further than anyone thought possible. Can he take one more impossible step? The 2026 World Cup is not just a football tournament. For Messi, it is the closing chapter of the most decorated individual career in the history of the sport. For Argentina, it is the chance to etch their name into a list of only 2. For football, it is the final chance to watch the little boy from Rosario, the one who needed growth hormone injections and a Spanish club's belief in a paper napkin, do what he has always done, the impossible, one more time. So we want to know what you think. Leave it in the comments right now. Does Messi lead Argentina to back-to-back World Cup glory, or does the weight of history finally stop him? And if you want more deep-dive football history and stats like this every week, subscribe. We're just getting started on the road to 2026.